Hello there, welcome to the series finale, guys, of Kenobi, our Obi-Wan Kenobi series in review. Welcome to Project Potter. My name is Kyle, your host. Guys, go check out the other content. Of course, go check out the other 5 episodes of this series. But this limited event, as they call it, came to a close, guys. I got some thoughts, and buckle up, guys, because I got a lot to say about not only a series, but this episode as a whole. If you haven't seen the show before, what I do is kind of go over my favorite scenes of the episode. I do a favorite character, which is the chosen one. I do a least favorite character, which is who failed me, a score out of 10. And that's pretty much it. So guys, jumping into it here. Things I liked about this episode, obviously the Obi-Wan Vader scene. Guys, we knew this was coming, right? We knew Obi-Wan and Vader / Anakin were going to fight again. We knew that was going to go down. It's like, where's this going to happen? Are they going to go back to Mustafar? Nah, dude. You know what they're going to do? They're going to go to the darkest planet I've ever seen. And 95% of this episode, they didn't want you to see shit because they were like, hey, you know what? Remember that one episode of Game of Thrones where everyone complained it was too dark and no one could see anything? Let's do that for a whole episode on our most important parts. So not only did they go to Tatooine, right? Which I'm like, all right, we knew Luke was in there. We zoomed in on Luke at the end of the last episode, and I was like, all right, I guess so. But I didn't want to involve Luke too much, but we knew Kenobi probably wasn't going back to Tatooine. So, we pick it up, guys, and the ship's trying to escape, and they're trying to hyperdrive, and they need to repair the ship, and there's not enough time. It's similar to Last Jedi. They're trying to escape, and they got to put the shields in there, and they're like, dude, we're not going to escape. I'm like, all right, dude, again, did this in Last Jedi. A little too similar to that. I don't love this story thread. But then Kenobi, of course, is like, look, you guys are the future. Vader wants me. And we're like, well, obviously, dude. And so he goes out on the escape ship. The Empire's following him, and the Grand Inquisitor's there, and Vader, and he's like, hey, let's make sure that we don't only chase Kenobi, because that's a you problem. The Grand Inquisitor's like, we need to snuff out the resistance. We need to kill this ship of all these rebel, alliance people. And then he's like, you know what? Let's follow Kenobi. And then the Grand Inquisitor's like, why am I even here, dude? And I thought Vader was going to go I'm going to take a ship. You guys keep tracking them, but I'm going to take my own TIE fighter or whatever, or just go in an escape pod and chase down Kenobi. But then it's like they reverse course to go after Kenobi, but then it's like none of the Empire helps out Vader. Vader goes down to the planet, and then are they just chilling in orbit? What are they doing, dude? They didn't do anything. Vader goes down there, and we get the big scene we all thought we were going to get, but again, it's just so dark everywhere. And I'm like, dude, I can tell that they wanted to have the lightsaber stick out, which you can do, but you have to have an interesting background. And it was just rocks, the most basic generic thing. And it's this is your big fight, dude. This is the fight of the show. This is why people are watching, because they want the rematch between Obi-Wan and Vader. This is what you gave us. You gave us a dark background with rocks. There's not even a lot. The Mustafar fight is awesome because there's lava and they're going through, and the choreography is amazing. With this, it's just a dark, generic background. And I was and there's maybe a moon in the background, but it's not even a beautiful shot. It's just you think it looks like they ran out of budget. And it's this should be where your budget's going, dude. This fight, this is why most people are watching this show. And it's just this episode, this series, guys, was just a big miss for me, where it's what a missed opportunity, man. And I'll get into that more in a bit, guys. But the fight itself was okay. It seemed like Obi-Wan, I thought, which was interesting, was kind of aggressive, and he was kind of fighting with hate this time. So I thought that was kind of a flip-flop of what they kind of preached on last episode, where they have the flashback, and Obi-Wan's like, Anakin, your desire to win is clouding your judgment. And he's like, you fight with too much hate. And Obi-Wan was kind of coming at Vader this time. So I was interesting that he's kind of reverting back. There's a cool scene where, Obi-Wan pushes Vader back, which I was like, oh, okay. And then he goes to put the rock on him, and then Vader stops it, and he's like, your strength has returned, but he's like, so has your weakness. And I was like, but how has his weakness returned? If Vader buries him, he's basically like, oh, you thought you could defeat me, huh, Master? The fight itself, I think, was pretty good. Obi-Wan gets buried, and we obviously know he's not going to die. We obviously know that's not the end of it. Vader starts to walk away. He should know better that it's not over. And then we cut back and forth between Luke and Reva, who, guys, remember, she got stabbed last episode and she was dying out, but she had the holocron or whatever. Now she's just mostly fine. She doesn't even she's not even limping around. She just I understand that it's been shown in Star Wars that the dark side gives you the will to live, and that's how the Great Inquisitor survived. But we're getting to a point where people are just getting stabbed with lightsabers, and it's not like Qui-Gon Jinn did in Phantom Menace, but it doesn't mean the same because the dark side, people can just survive it. So like, I get it. That's a benefit of the Force. That's why like fucking Palpatine somehow returned. It seems weird to me that like basically the villains can get stabbed and like, oh, they're with the dark side of the Force, they're good. They're not gonna die. They can get stabbed right in the chest and it's fine. So it's like it took away all of the meaning from last episode. Not only did Great Inquisitor not do anything in the series, Eva gets stabbed and you're like, is she gonna bleed out? And then she just shows up to Tatooine and she's fine. She's just wearing like a hood, and then she just like shows up and she's like, where's the farmer named Owen? And then the guy should have been like, bro, there's like 1,000 Owens on this planet. She goes there and she's like trying to chase down Luke, and Luke's running, and it's really weird because she like easily outduels Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. And I don't even know if Aunt Beru did anything, but like they're like, oh, go. And they like a little like Rogue One. It's much more poorly done in this one, where like they send Jin running in Rogue One and they send Luke running in this one, but we know Luke obviously isn't going to get captured or killed. So eventually he like passes out, but like he had to have seen the lightsaber, which doesn't make any sense, guys, because in New Hope, when Ben shows him the lightsaber, he's like, what is this? And he fires it up. He's like, whoa. And he's like, it's a lightsaber. But he just saw it here. And like, I know when Reva goes and sees him, he's passed out, but like pretty sure he was aware that she was coming after him with a lightsaber because she lit it up. And like, it's just like, dude, what are we doing? We're messing with the canon. And it's just like, this show altogether is so we go back to Vader and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's in the rubble, and we know he's gonna like basically like Dragon Ball Z power up out of it. And then I'm like, oh, this would be a great time for Qui-Gon Jinn to come in. Because remember, guys, he was calling out to Qui-Gon the first couple episodes, just stop doing that. Just stop doing that altogether. It's like the writers forgot about it, except they didn't forget about it because not only does he not call out there, he just like uses the Force more and gets out. And I'm like, okay. And then there's a fight scene with Vader, and there is one really cool moment where he like takes down Vader, or he like takes down his breathing apparatus, and he's like wheezing, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Do we never see Vader like weak, especially how we have seen his power throughout the series, have him being like prime Vader, like peak Vader. Really, really cool moment when he's like on his knees, and then Obi-Wan like goes after him and slices part of his mask down. The moment of the series probably redeems itself a little bit, where I love that scene where Obi-Wan's acting is just incredible, where he starts tearing up and he's like, Anakin, he's like, I'm sorry, you didn't kill Anakin, I did. And then that's when he goes, oh, and he goes, my friend is truly lost then. I don't want to forget this. The way that fight started, Vader shows up and he goes, have you come to destroy me, Obi-Wan? Obi-Wan says, I will do what I must. And I was like, oh, let's go, dude. Obi-Wan, obviously, there's a scene where I'm kind of jumping around here, guys, but he's throwing the rocks. He just like holds his hands up and all these rocks start shooting at him. And Vader's like, come on, can you not? He's like, you know what, Obi, like, let me just say some things. Obi-Wan has mercy on him and leaves him, dude. He could have easily killed him. And when he says, my friend is lost, to me, that was like him understanding that like Anakin Skywalker is dead. As far as he knows, it's only Darth Vader. And he says, goodbye, Darth. He actually says Darth. That's like him saying like, okay, I understand there's no more Anakin Skywalker. But he knows how powerful he is. He knows he's out to take over the universe. And he just lets him live. I'm like, bro, you killed Obi-Wan, essentially killed millions of people because he just let Darth Vader keep going. And it's like, again, how did Darth Vader? The next time we see Vader, he's just fine. He's talking to the Emperor. And guys, I don't know if I think it's Ian McClellan, if not Ian McShane, I don't remember, but whatever, whoever plays Emperor Palpatine, I don't know if they didn't get him for this or if it was just really poor CGI or what happened, but like they had some dude who played Palpatine and like the shot was bad. The acting didn't sound like Palpatine and it just sounded really weird. They put the Empire, the Imperial March in there at the end, but the next time we see Vader, he's just fixed up. And it's like, we didn't get a scene where they're putting together his mask or repairing his mask, maybe like a Kylo Ren does in Rise of Skywalker, they're melding it back together. Like none of that happened. He was just fine. He was literally wheezing and falls over. And then I bet the Empire was just like hovering in orbit like, oh shit, should we go get Vader? Because it seems like he's about to die. There's just a lot of issues with this series, man, where Obi-Wan goes and sees Leia at the end. And it's like, all right, but I don't know, like he's like, oh, will you see me again? And I'm like, I don't know. He might have well just been like, hey, if you need me in like 25 years, send me a hologram, but make sure it's discreet and put it in like an R2 unit if you can. That way, in case someone finds it. He's like, I don't know, are we gonna see each other again? And I was like, dude, we obviously know what's going on, which again, when you do a prequel, kind of takes a little bit out of it. It's cool to connect to it, but like if it's done right, like Rogue One, it's fantastic. But this just feels like a miss to me, where Obi-Wan goes over there and they throw in a last hello there because Owen's like, you want to meet him? And I was like, dude, he's been standing there for like 20 minutes. Like, what do you mean, do you want to meet him? You definitely have to see. I mean, I guess technically that was the first time that he met Luke, but the kid they got for Luke too didn't have like any personality. And I'm like, dude, Luke is super charismatic in A New Hope. So like, I know he's older than, but like, he's just sitting there. He's like, they don't even show off how Luke is supposed to be like really good with parts, or he's like, oh, I guess you just need to be a boy. But he goes over and goes, hello there. And I'm like, all right, dude, that was cheap. And then he goes over and he gets on like a camel and goes into the desert after he leaves his hole. He goes from one hole to another, apparently. And then Qui-Gon's chilling there, like sitting there like, bro, I've been waiting for like 7 days. And it's like, now you show Qui-Gon? Like, it was cool to see Liam Neeson, don't get me wrong, in Force Ghost. We figured that was coming. But why didn't you put him in there when he was like about to be buried by rubble and needed that extra kick? Why didn't you say Master Qui-Gon? And then he shows up and says, use the Force, or you gotta give some speech. He's just like, bro, I've been waiting here. And it's like, oh, guys, we figured out why he couldn't get in touch with Qui-Gon before, because Qui-Gon didn't have any service. He was just in a bad area, apparently. He's like, oh, I thought you meant the restaurant down the street. Oh, you meant Paisanos? Oh, I'm sorry, dude, we mixed up. Like, so stupid, dude. He's just standing there and he's like, come on, we have a lot to work on or whatever. But it's like, dude, the whole point of the show, other than a Vader Obi-Wan, was to show how we got our Obi-Wan, our prequel Obi-Wan, right? How he transitions to the Alec Guinness Obi-Wan that we see in New Hope, okay? And so I was really excited because I thought we were going to slowly get him into that role. At the end, dude, we just get Obi-Wan who's just back to prequel Obi-Wan. He's actually probably more powerful than prequel Obi-Wan. And it's like, the whole point of the show was that we see the transition, that time, we don't know how he got from prequel Obi-Wan to Alec Guinness Obi-Wan, and that was what was so exciting about the show. And then we just never got that. At the beginning, he was disconnected from the Force because they were hunting Jedi, and the only way to truly hide was to disconnect himself from the Force. Otherwise, Vader would just sense him, and Palpatine would probably sense him, and they would go and they'd find him. And now he's just fully powerful again. So now he's like fully connected to the Force, and there's no like indication that he's gonna re-hide himself or disconnect. So Vader's just gonna know where he is. So it's like that puts Luke in danger, that puts Obi-Wan in danger, and it's just like, I'm just really disappointed with where the show ended up, because it's like, oh, now we're just going into the desert and then just figure out the rest, dude. Like, that was the whole point. You had a golden opportunity to show that. It's like, and I don't need 6 episodes of that, but like, it should have been a slow build. And then even like the last 20 minutes or so, you know, things settle with Vader or whatever, and then he goes into there, and then there's like a montage or something of Qui-Gon, but it's like, we get a quick thing of Qui-Gon, and then he's just like, oh, I'll train you. And then we just assume that he just showed him, I don't even know, what did he even show him? I don't know, dude. How to hide and disconnect from the Force again, which it doesn't make any sense. And it's like, this series, guys, just a big L for me, like a big miss, where it's like, I really enjoyed some parts of it, but man, did they really miss the mark. This could have been so great. And it's like, even worse than like the Boba Fett show, where like Boba Fett, it was cool because we had like, Boba Fett's an awesome character, but like, that was just a mess of a show. This one had a little bit of structure, but it was so like, I did not care about Reva at all. Also, guys, Reva just brings Luke back, and she has like her redemption arc where she's like, oh, I couldn't kill him. And then she's like, oh, am I him? And Obi-Wan's like, no, dude, you saved him. But then what happens? She's like, what do I do next? And Obi-Wan's like, whatever you want to do, dude, the show's over. He's like, it doesn't matter what you're doing next. Does she just walk away? What happens? It doesn't make any sense, dude, that she should have like joined the Resistance or something. Like she's just like, you know what, dude, there's a Starbucks down there. I'm going to go there, just hang out, probably get a couple of lattes or whatever. And it's just like, so there was like no resolution not to strike Luke down. By the way, she could just easily kill Luke, but we all knew as the audience that she wasn't going to do that. And Obi-Wan is like, Luke, and he heads back and hyper jumps, but then he doesn't even get there in time. And she's just like, you know what, I had flashbacks. I didn't feel like killing him. And so it's like, we thought we thought Obi-Wan was going to come back, hyperspeed, and then like either his ship comes in at the last minute or he just shows up and he's like, don't try it. That would have been much better. But instead, he just doesn't get there in time. And then he shows up and he's like, where's Luke? And they're like, I don't know. He's like, I'll check the Dune Sea. And I'm like, you'll check the Dune Sea? You just hyper flew here, dude, because it was time sensitive, because you sensed that he was going to get die. And it's like, oh, you're just gonna check all of Tatooine Desert. It's so stupid, dude. And I'm just like, man, there's just so many misses in the show that could have been. And I was really hoping that this could have been fantastic. And it's like, this really I again, guys, I've said I like the sequel trilogy. You'll see that from my reviews that are coming out whenever I drop those. This really feels like Disney had their hands on it, and they really, I think, mishandled this series. And it's like, this is supposed to be their premiere series. They hyped it up. They said this is an event. They put out 2 episodes in the first night, and it was like 6-part event. The episodes were longer, and it's like, this is going to be incredible. And everyone was so excited. And Obi-Wan Kenobi is a legacy character, dude. And Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader, legacy character. And then they had Luke and Leia. The Leia thing I thought was a bit too much. The Luke, I didn't think they had to have Luke at all. They could have had a quick glimpse of him. They didn't really need him to be involved at all. The fact that he probably saw a lightsaber and then doesn't know what a lightsaber is later on in New Hope is weird. There's just a lot of issues, guys, and I'm just like, man, what a missed opportunity. But yeah, that's kind of my long-winded thoughts on this episode and kind of as a series as a whole. Okay, guys, the chosen one, which is my favorite character, obviously, dude, it's Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought he was just excellent throughout the series. You know, I thought some of the episodes, I think it was a little weak for his character, but man, just to see him back there, to see him initially struggle, you know, he did a really good job of showing us that he was like weak, and then he seemed pretty powerful in that fight against Vader at the end. But I just wish there was a little bit more with his character as a whole. But overall, guys, I thought Ewan is just such a treat, man. And it's like, you can have him in so many things, but this is probably his last role as Kenobi. I can't imagine he'll do anything else as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I just wish they would have kind of tied his story up a little bit better, but just really nice to be back in his shoes for 6 episodes. So despite my issues with the series, I think Obi-Wan so incredible, and I think Ewan was so incredible as Obi-Wan, really for all 6 episodes, even if it was some highs and some lows, but every time he was on screen, you were like, yeah, dude, I missed Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, or in this universe. So Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, thank you, and you get my favorite character for this one. Okay, guys, who failed me for this one, or my least favorite character? I'm actually going to say the Empire as a whole. I didn't like Reva. The Grand Inquisitor didn't do anything, and I understand he is, I think, in Rebels and all that stuff, but like, don't have him in live action if he's not really going to do anything. When Vader goes down to fight Obi-Wan, again, I don't understand why Vader didn't go off on his own ship and take off Obi-Wan, and they were attacking the Resistance, because they would have easily taken down the ship. They couldn't repair the ship. They needed to jump to hyperspace, but like, you know, same as Last Jedi, guys, where like their shields are running out and they need a plan. And then they're like, you know, Vader's like, no, dude, we're gonna follow Kenobi. And then they're just like, oh, you know what? That's cool. And also, there was no follow-up to that transport. Like, yes, we see Leia at the end put on her Princess Leia stuff, and it's like, all right, guys, we get it. She just wears that outfit for like 10, 20 more years. Like, whatever. She's really like becoming Princess Leia, but I don't know if she necessarily earned it, dude. She was kind of just Obi-Wan's sidekick. Anyway, I don't want to get into that, guys, but I wish they would have pushed back a little bit more. Grand Inquisitor was literally like, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't just chase Obi-Wan Kenobi because he's just one Jedi. And Darth Vader's like, you know what, dude? I'm gonna force choke you if you question me again. And I wish there was a little bit more of a struggle there. Like, it would have been really cool if like Grand Inquisitor came out from the Force and then he started choking him or something. Like, just a quick scene where that would have been really cool. Instead, they were like, you know what? He says chase Kenobi, so let's chase Kenobi. And Vader says, like, you know, I've sent all the probes out. We're going to find Kenobi. Palpatine is like, hey, maybe we shouldn't just go after Kenobi. And he's like, you know what, man? You're right. Vader's like, Kenobi is not going to be a problem. And then it's like, you just said you were trying to find him no matter what, and now you're saying you're not fine. It was just like, just a miss, guys. So I think the Empire as a whole kind of failed me in this series, and I didn't care about anyone really outside of Vader. And it's like, Vader was so awesome, but like, what happened to, was it the 2nd brother or the 5th brother or whatever? What happened to him, dude? Like, that was like a big thing, like, oh, I'm gonna get Grand Inquisitor, and you know, he was going against Reva, and then like, he just doesn't do anything the rest of the series. And I'm like, bro, what's going on here? So yeah, the Empire as a whole, guys, just, they failed me. Okay, guys, that brings us to the score. This is a 7-4 for me. And the reason that this is so low is for a lot of the reasons I mentioned, guys, is that there were some moments in here I really, really liked. I was like getting emotional when he says like, Anakin, I'm sorry. And it's like, you see like how Anakin, obviously his face is messed up, but this is the first time that Ben or Obi-Wan has seen his face at all since it was literally burning alive. And, you know, obviously Obi-Wan feels guilt that he left him there and that he had to do what he must and all that. But that was really great. The fight, I thought, was okay. There were some cool moments, but like, again, just using general rocks, and it was so dark, guys. I'm like, why can't I see more of this. They have these beautiful backgrounds. When we go and see Princess Leia, Alderaan, and it's like nice and bright and flush, and it's like cool. But like that again, the Mustafar fight in Revenge of the Sith guys is so cool because it's like there's lava and they're going through and they're jumping force, and it's a great choreographed fight. And I understand that they probably couldn't live up to that, but Star Wars is so big and you have so much budget behind this that it's like you couldn't have made a better fight, dude. This is the big fight. This is the last fight before they face each other in New Hope for the last time, and it's like you couldn't have put together this crazy thing. Why is the Revenge of the Sith fight better than this fight, dude? When you not only have that fight to go off of, just understand, and I understand that Vader, like that was Anakin, kind of the height of his powers before becoming Vader, but also we've seen how powerful Vader is. So for Obi-Wan to just kind of like take him down relatively easily, I don't know, it was just kind of weird. So I just thought, the background was so like unappealing, and I could tell they were trying to do something with the lightsabers with the light, but like it wasn't cool like they did when Leia was captured, where like Obi-Wan turns his lightsaber on and it turns it off. Like that was really cool. This one, it was just kind of like, okay, there's two lightsaber colors, but like it wasn't even like the Force Awakens scene where we get Kylo Ren and Rey, and those lightsabers really stick out. And the background is really cool when it's snowing. This is just like a generic Planet One, rocks. It's dark also, so you can't see anything. And I'm like, it just felt like they kind of ran out of budget and they had to throw something together. And it's like, this should have been the climax of your show. So I was just disappointed. And this series, like I said, guys, I've mentioned in this video, was just overall a missed opportunity and just a disappointing effort overall. Okay, guys, well, that's it for Kenobi. Thanks for checking out the channel, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the ride all 6 weeks with me. Am I glad this exists? Yes. But man, this is like really going to bug me because it really is just something that could have been so much better. And I will remember this series for a couple of cool scenes, but overall, it's like, cool. Did I know that Vader was a badass? Yeah. Did I know that Obi-Wan was pretty powerful? Yeah. The whole idea of Obi-Wan hiding himself, disconnecting from the Force and so that he could hide was much more interesting to me than him just getting all his powers back and being like, don't try it. And I wish he said don't try it in the finale. But overall, guys, thanks for checking out the channel. Go check out the other content. Again, I've reviewed all the Star Wars movies. Those are coming at some point. There's just been a lot going on in my life still. So once things settle down, I will drop those. But thanks for checking out the channel, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, guys, I love you.